Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much.
Santiago, you were a baby when the trial happened. You were 4, 5, 6,
4 years old, yeah.
4 years old. Do you remember the impact that something like this had on your family? What do you remember of that time, or what is it that when you look back, what do you about that time?
No, I don't have precise memories from that moment, but my mother, she worked in the justice, well, she still do, for her whole life. So I went many times since I was a kid to the place where the trial happened, to the Justice Palace. She works there in one of the offices. There, she's a social worker who works with child mainly. But at that time, when and some years before the trial happened in the 83, she started to work in the library, so she met Strasera a couple of times. So I had like some stories from the weird personality of Strasera that came from my mother. And since she's working in justice, the trial was a huge event for her and for everyone in Argentina, of course. So I knew quite a bit about the trial and about Strasera and about his relation with Luis Moreno Campo. But then when I decided to do a film about this subject, I need to go back to all the sources. Of course, my mother was one of them. But well, I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know, which were I think yeah, well, they are in the film now, but made me realize that yeah, there was a film that I really wanted to do on
On,
on
on
the
the
subject.
trial. What
Yeah.
what what prompted you to tell this story, and why do you think it took so long for a film to be made on the trial specifically?
I cannot answer that because it's something I don't know, and actually I'm a little bit I'm happy that it didn't happen before, because if it would have happened before, probably I would not do it. And I'm very proud of the opportunity that life gave me to put in images this great trial that happened in my country. Um, I don't know why it took so long. Probably it's we've been doing films we as Argentinians, I mean, and about the dictatorship a lot, about how horrible it was to live in that moment of Argentina, but we were not thinking on about what it meant to come back to from the dictatorship. So I don't know. Probably societies need time to process their own histories and the story about the dictatorship. Of course, it's not. It will never be enough, because it's a wound that will keep forever with our society. But I wanted to talk also about this on how we deal with that wound through justice, and how important is to bring justice after crimes so awful like the ones that were committed in the dictatorship.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I love, as I was telling the audience before the screening, that I love when I saw it first, is this portrait of the Argentinian society, after the fact, and how something like that impacts everyday's life for everyone for years further than the actual oppression as occurred. It becomes an oppression of the mind, and this is reflected in the character of the prosecutor, in the way it starts not wanted to do this, and then he has to embrace it.
Yeah, well, it was very interesting, and it was something that I realized during the research, because I thought like everybody was wanting the trial, but then people who were participating in the trial, who were living that moment, they were explaining me like the society fight to get back democracy, but they were still afraid of the militaries. Argentina came from almost 50 years of constant strikes, military coup d'état against democratic governments. So the possibility that a new attempt against democracy by the military is very real. So I mean, they want democracy, and they were afraid of the militaries, and they were afraid that the trial could make them angry again, and they will and once the democratic government goes weak, they will try to go back. So it was like a big contradiction. And in Strasera itself, it was I mean, we can tell all that contradiction because he, during the dictatorship, as the film is said, he was working in the justice, and I mean, everyone in the justice, they had to know something, and he didn't do anything. I mean, why didn't he do anything? Because he was afraid, because his family could have been killed. I don't know why. But then they have this second opportunity, and in a way, like a big part of the society in Argentina, the trial is a second opportunity because the trial was then very supported by the society. Before it happened, it was not so supported. I think if they could vote like the whole society, maybe it did not will not happen. But luckily, the decision of the president and the braveness of the prosecutors and the judges make it happen. And then it was like 6 months of every day watching in the newspapers or TV news the atrocities that happened during the dictatorship, and listen to it in the from the voice of the victims. So it was like a big awakening for many people, this trial.
And how is the film being perceived in Argentina today? What it means today for Argentinians to have this film come out?
It was a big success. I mean, let's go to the objective stuff. It was a big success. It was the #1 film in the box office for 5 weeks, and now it's been like 5 months since the cinema released in theaters, and it keeps going in theater, and the film is in Amazon since also 5 months. So both things are going very well. The film is being released, it's still in cinemas, and it's still in Amazon. It's going very well. So I think that says the film was very well received, and we had like a lot of full house cinemas during the first weeks, and it was very moving for many people. Of course, there's some controversy about the film, but it's something that we were expecting, because not everybody thinks the same about this situation. But mostly it has been very well received, and it was very emotional for us to be there, because we heard many stories of people who survived and went to see the cinema, to see the film with their children or with their families, and telling, and we were in contact with many of the people who were suffered, because I mean, my family, they were very politically active, but luckily they were not. Nobody was abducted, and they didn't have but there's many people who have stories of abductions in their own families or suffering in their own bodies. So it's like I don't know. It was great to be able to show this film in Argentina, and it was great to be able to show it in the rest of the world, because not many places know about this story. I think it's a great example that the one that happened in Argentina, how to deal with a dictatorship, and how about justice and to consolidate democracy and accountability, and the importance of accountability. It's and it was the only country in the whole region who did that, because nor Uruguay, nor Chile, nor Brazil, nor Spain, or there's many countries who suffered awful dictatorships that did not trial their dictators. So I think the film is resonating very deeply in those countries, but also in other countries who are starting to be afraid about the fragility of democracy these days.
Yeah, seems to speak to our present moment in a way.
Yeah.
Did you know when you were writing it that it would be so resonant or not?
No, not at all. I was wanting to tell very precisely this story about these characters and about this moment in my country, but I couldn't imagine how it was going to be received. When one was released, the process of making a film is so long. I think I started with this one in 2017. So the world, I don't know if it's changed a lot, but many things happen that make the film a lot more universal and a lot more contemporary than what I thought. Not long ago, what happened in Brazil was something that it was impossible to imagine that like they would try to turn away a president. and what happened in the US in January 6th was something that even if you have you cannot imagine something that can happen. So, well, yeah, and many other places who are still living in horrors of dictatorship. Yeah.
Strasera died a couple of years before you started the film, working on the film. Can you tell us a little bit what your sources were? All the young lawyers that you work with were, really young. So I would assume several of them are around. And so what kind of interaction did you have with the people that were part of this?
Yes, I had interaction with many of the characters that you see in the film. Luis Moreno Campo is quite young today, and he's quite active. So he was one of the sources. I had long interviews with him during a long period of time, asking him first the general ideas, but then more precise things. But also many of the lawyers from the team, I spoke to them a lot, and judges, people from some of the families of the victims that gave testimony, because and also some people who gave testimony themselves, and I tried to spoke to the more people that I could, and it was very interesting, because at some point, after a while, doing a research of, I don't know, sometime, let's say 6 months, 7 months, you already know the facts. And I understand the strategy of the prosecutors, and I understand the position of the judges. I understand the political context. But then you need to understand the persons and the humanity and what they think, and to spend the time with them was something very, very important for me, because at some point when I started to write, I was writing about the person that I knew, and I have been having a relationship, not friendly, but yeah, kind of friendly. So I was imagining that at some point they will be sitting in a theater and watching the film, and I wanted the film could reflect what they told me in a precise way. So it made me want to be a better writer in a way, and then a better director, and to cast the right actor and all that stuff, because I feel that all that people, I care about them, and they are kind of heroes. Even they are normal persons. So I wanted the film that could make a good impact on them also. But you were talking about the family of Strasera. I think the person that I spoke the most was his son, who is an important character, and I think that the character appeared because we spoke so much with him, and he told us some private moments he lived with his father during that process, during that period of time. So I mean, most of that is an invention of the script, all the private parts, but they are inspired on what I spoke to him or to other people who are very much related to the family of Strasera.
Is the humor that the character has a part of truth or part of the imagination? Because it's just wonderful, this incredibly tense situation, being able to keep your cool by offsetting thing with humor.
Well, I think it's both, because Strasera was actually a person who could have weird reactions and kind of funny sometimes kind of crazy, the one you see in the film, when he's making gestures to the defendants. All that stuff happened, and many more that we were not able to put them on the film because it would have been too much. So I think there was nobody who did not have a funny story about Strasera. So the humor was there. I mean, then me with my co-writer Mariano Chinás, we realized that was what we could use to build a strong relation with the characters and with the film before getting to the dark part or painful part of the film, that we were sure that people were going to cry when we get to the moment when Adriana Calvo de la Borda is telling how she had her baby handcuffed in a police car. It was so it was we were wanting to go there slowly and with tension, but also try to be very close to the characters, and those humorous moments. I think they helped us to relate deeper with the characters. And then it was like, okay, now we have this element, so we try to use it on another times, because I mean the scene, I love the one scene that is in the end when the boy is spying the judges in the pizza place. Of course, that's an invention. The judges, they meet in the pizza place, that's true. But I mean, the funny thing about the boy spying on them was a thing that we invented, and it's great that after all that emotion, after all the what you've seen, I mean, we can go back to some humor stuff in the end. It was important for us, but also it was not only a strategy of screenwriters. All the people that we spoke about the trial, they feel proud about it, and that they participated on this trial, and that the trial happened in Argentina, and they couldn't avoid smiling at some point when we were talking to them. So I think that this trial was important in many ways, and it makes people very proud, and it's a small happy event after the horror. So I wanted the film could have like that atmosphere also.
Raise your hand if you have a question. There's one here.
I want to wish you luck for the Oscar. Espero que ganes el Oscar de todo corazón. Vamos a estar ahí ese día acompañando y haciendo barra por ti. I'm from Chile. I lived under Salvador Allende's government, 1970 to 1973. I also live under Pinochet dictatorship, and my house was raided many times. And I have a father who was taken to the stadium. So this movie, it comes so close to me. It gave me chills the whole night. So thank you for bring this to us. And also the Chileans never were brave enough as you guys did in Argentina. So thank you for showing us this.
Thank you very much. It was, well, as I said before, I mean, the impact that the film had, telling a story that it was in Argentina, the impact that had in many places with stories similar to the Argentinian one. It's great, and what it was very moving to listen to people like she was saying that, like how deep the film could get also to the Chilean society. So thank you for saying it, and I'm happy that you appreciate it.
First of all, thank you for a riveting movie. You could have told the story as a documentary, or you could have told the story like the seminal story in this genre, Judgment at Nuremberg, through the eyes of a judge. But you told the story through the very human prosecutor. Could you tell us how you came to that focus?
Did you get the question?
Yes, we did. I always knew that I wanted to do like I will not, well, yeah, it's a fiction based in an historical event, but yeah, but performed by actors, let's say, because now I will not say there's so many like documentary procedures during the film and all the research that I did was so important that there are some moments that are very non-fiction. Like all the public moments of the trial, they are directly from the transcripts of the files, and they are verbatim what the witness says, and also what Estracera says. But in a way, I truly believe in the power of fiction to bring truth back to life, and the power of
We lost you. Lost him.
Where you can live through the 85 and through this process with the prosecutors and with the people who are appearing in the film, like an immersive like experience of cinema. So for that, like the point of view and being very attached to the humanity of the characters, was something very important. And I think like to do that, the possibilities of the fiction, non-fiction that we use were the ones that could make us able to achieve it.
And you shot in the actual tribunal, right? You shot in the same hearing room, correct?
Yeah, that was something that I asked to the producers since the beginning, and they were, of course, it was difficult because it's a public place. The courtroom is not used anymore as a courtroom, but yeah, it's still in the Justice Palace, where it's the main building of the justice in Argentina. And I asked them that I wanted to do that because I wanted to mix. I had very clear that I wanted to mix some actual footage from the original trial with our recreation. So for that, it was the only way to do it. And luckily, the people from the government who had to authorize this, we waited a long time, more than I wanted, but finally they understood that the film was going to be important for the country in a way, and they allow us to shoot there. So we were shooting during the nights when nobody was in the place. But the atmosphere when we were there recreating those scenes and listening, it gave us the chill. It was such an intense experience for me, for the actors, and for everybody who was with us in the shooting.
Speaking of the actors, did you write the film for Ricardo Darin? Because you can't imagine anyone else after you see the film Brains Trasera.
Yeah, he's so good. He's a great guy. Beside a great actor and a great cineman. He really cares about cinema, and I kind of, we have been friends for a long time. Then we did a film together, the previous one, and I understood how much I like the way he gets involved with the characters and with the film. He has a weird ability of fusioning himself with the character and producing something totally new. And I love the way he thinks about how he understands the structure and the scenes and the utility of every element of the film. So when I started with the idea, when I decided I will go on with this idea, he was the first person that I spoke to, and he luckily he told me, yeah, I'm doing Estracera like right away. And then he read the first draft of the script, and he also offered me to participate as a producer. So he had been very much into the project since the beginning, and I love to work with him. He's such a nice guy, such a funny guy, and a great actor. The scene of his final indictment, it was a scene that I was terrified of. I mean, it was because, I mean, the film is a trial film, and we have all seen many trial films. And usually in the cinematic tradition of trial films, the prosecutors, they stand up, they walk on the stage, they point to the judges, they point to the witnesses, they do like a very exaggerated performance. And in this case was only one guy sitting at a table, reading a paper during a scene that it was 20 pages. So I was worried about on how that was going to work. But then Ricardo has this quality, and that it's amazing, and it's even more interesting to watch him and to focus on the importance of that and that speech, and not have the actor walking around and doing all the stuff that we are used to watching cinema.
And the relationship with Peter Lanzani, who is also a young, is a young Argentinian star. How did they build? Because in the film, it's so intense. The older, more cynical prosecutor, and that becomes less cynical, and the young one.
Yes, the film was shot during the COVID. So I like very much doing rehearsals, not rehearsals like reading doing the acting of the scenes, but spending time together to build the confidence between the actors and the team. So usually in my previous works, I do a lot of that, like going just to have dinner and talk about the film and talk about the anything that the film makes us think. But in this case, we were not able to do it because we were confined during the bigger part of the process. So we tried to do did some Zooms. We read many times the script, and at some point when the pre-production started, they allowed us to be together, but with plastic and mask and whatever, and try to rehearse a little bit. But they were both very committed on the film, and they were really wanting to do the film, and they are very clever actors. And Ricardo is someone who, I mean, one of his talents is he can build confidence with someone in 1 second. So I think in the first time we were talking together in the Zoom already, Peter, that of course, like every young actor in Argentina is a great fan of Ricardo. They were already building this relation that then you can see in the film.
There's one here.
Hola, I don't know speak English, I speak Spanish. Soy Mónica de Chile y quería agradecer, felicitar y agradecer la producción de la película porque logras hacer tomar conciencia a las futuras generaciones, los jóvenes de hoy día, que no vean esto como una división, sino que logras causar empatía hacia tu público y logras que las personas, todos tomen conciencia y se puedan poner en el lugar de lo que se vivió hace muchos años como historia y que no se olvide, como dice la película, nunca más, pero con conciencia. En realidad mi mensaje es felicitarte y que ojalá ganes el Oscar, y me siento realmente orgullosa de tener en Latinoamérica talentos tan importantes como tú y otros más, así que más que nada, congratulations.
Thank you very much. No, what she was talking about, the importance of bringing this story to the younger generations, and actually was one of the things that we wanted the most, because we realized that, of course, time happened, and it's been 40 years since the trial, kind of. So there was many generations that were born in democracy. So of course, generations who were born in democracy, they criticize democracy because the democracy also has problems, but they were not remembering how hard it was for a country like Argentina to get back to democracy, and how important is that we did this trial, and we could send these people to jail, and so for me it was important to talk to them and to collaborate in this thing that it's called memory, which seems kind of abstract, but it's not. It's like the way of a country to elaborate their wounds and to not commit the same mistakes like the ones happening in the past. And now we see in Argentina, but and in so many places, young people who they are so angry with democracy, and they are start to embracing proto-fascist speeches. So for me, it's very painful to watch a young people being a right-wing supporter in a country like mine. So I wanted to make this film and to try to talk to them, and of course the elements were there because this trial was made by Strasera, but also with a very, very young team who were brave enough to achieve the task. So I mean, I thank what she said, and it was one of the things that I was wanting the most to happen, and luckily I think, well, a little bit we achieved it.
You did. Anyone else? There.
First of all, thank you for the film. It was wonderful. How did you choose specific people to target, or how did the hunter choose specific people to target?
In what sense target?
They were to be picked up. I mean, there were innocent people who were being targeted.
Oh, how were they targeted? Oh, okay. So he's asking how the junta was targeting these people. It was suspicions. It was people telling them about possibly being involved with the guerrillas. I mean, was it random? How random was it?
Totally random.
Totally random.
Because I mean, if you watch on the list of all the victims, there's like everyone, people from the politics, people that had like a small political commitment, people who were randomly picked in the street. It was like building a terror to the society, and so that like nobody could complain and try to get involved politically active. So no, there was no logic. And the logic was to be completely illogic, so everybody was a potential target.
I think Santiago has a commitment. So we
That's
have
why.
to let him. Look how
I mean,
elegant he
served
is.
me to come by, but also I have a commitment.
So good luck in a couple of weeks. We'll be thinking of you. And thank you again for this. And thank you for the film.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a good time. Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Adios a todos.
Ciao.